Welcome to Necromunda, welcome to the Underhive. Imagine, if you would, a dark and dank place where the acrid smell in the air burns away your nostril hair. It's not the Underhive, it's actually my man cave. So today I'm making on the tabletop a Necromunda piece of terrain, as you can probably imagine, because I'm addicted. And I've got a few bits left over from a shipping container and some walkways and such. And I also have a resin urinal left over from a previous hobby make. So I thought about making, because I've already made a toilet, a regular toilet, which people have now dubbed the Golden Throne. So I thought, why not make a urinal, just a walk-in Necromunda urinal that's going to be filthy and disgusting, I am sure. So, like I said, I've got some bits left over. I just thought I would film this because it might be fun for people to see, and I'm going to make this really, really grubby because every time I make something, I think, how could I improve it if I ever made it again? So last time when I made the toilet, I realised, yes, there is a toffee crisp on the floor. Yes, it does look disgusting, but it could be more disgusting. So I'm going to improve on that. So I have a piece of a shipping container left over. That's going to be my back wall. I have a few of these walkways left over. And why am I using these? Well, cutting off these pieces would be perfect for having a trough, maybe, for civilians of the Underhive to urinate down a drain. It sounds classy, doesn't it? It really does sound classy. And I'm thinking attach a urinal here. Have some pipes coming out of the wall here, broken off, to make it look like a urinal was there. And maybe some kind of cubicle there, which is blocked off. That's my initial plans. Let's see what I can make, shall we? So the first thing is I am going to shave off any mold lines on these bad boys, and then I'm going to cut off these, which I think would be nice grids for any liquids to drain down. So when I'm going to attach these roughly against the wall, it'd be nice to have some grids in between. So like so. And I'm going to put them all the way along the line there. So I'm going to put these side by side and cut off the excess grids to put along on the back wall. So you can be very careful with a hobby saw or loads of light cuts with a fairly decent hobby knife. So that's a sharp hobby knife, but it is metal. I do not like the plastic ones, because if you do cut down on these mats and you do get tempted to put too much pressure in, if the plastic ones break, you could lose a limb, possibly a finger. But yeah, so lots of light cuts just along there, and we will see. So I want to keep one on there anyway, because there's no point in cutting all three off if I'm going to use that. I was tempted to use, or leave even, one of the grids in between, so we can run down that way, but I think just running left or right is probably fine. Okay, so I've cut off all the pieces. I stuck them on like so. So they are lower than the walkway. The reason I do that is because obviously it's a drain, so it needs to be lower. Unless it's like Cornwall Council, and then it's actually higher and the water doesn't go in it. So I'm going to glue it on like so. So obviously the drain is lower, and fluids, I'll use that term loosely, will run into the drain. So a bit of an update. Stuck the back wall on. Trimmed the back of the bulkhead a little bit to stick that urinal on. I've put some plastic glue on that wall there in the shape of a urinal to rough up a little bit, like there's one broken off. And I've put a pipe there. I might trim the pipe back because I don't think it would be that long, judging by the depth of the actual urinal itself. And I have stuck the end of the container on, and I've trimmed the hinged section off because most cubicles have a little bit of a gap underneath, hence the daylight there. Alright, before I trim that off, I am going to measure up the space, and I'm going to cut this bulkhead up because I've got a few of these, quite a few spare ones, and I literally mean hundreds. And I like the look of that door. That's a pre-armoured door for a crap box for a cubicle. Even if you have the most spicy chili enchiladas, that shouldn't be blown off. That should be pretty cool. And it is approximately the right size. I have already measured it. So I'm going to get the trusty old hobby saw out. One of these. And I'm going to cut it down as neat as I can there on the left hand side and along the top as well. I could just butcher this and cut it off and not care about the waste, but I always keep the little spare bits. So, I mean, the saw's pretty good, but I wonder if I could karate chop it. Okay, not bad. It's pretty tidy. Don't really need a hobby saw after all. So, yeah, I'm going to measure that up. I've kept the recessed at the back there because I want to lock that in place, but I have cut the foot slightly, and I've measured it so that foot should glue, zoom, perfectly in line there, and that it should be in line with the bulkhead there. So I'll get some nice plastic card and put along the side. So something along the lines of that. Not bad, not bad. So I've made the pipe a little bit shorter. You can see like there's a rough area where the urinal used to be. I might make it a bit rougher again. I've put a wall up there to the side of the lavatory with a hole in the side, roughly waist height. If you don't know by now, that will become a bit more apparent later on. So next I'm going to put a roof on the toilet because I don't want anybody seeing inside. So I decided to put this on top to make it a bit more industrial. It really is a box because I didn't want the plastic card to be on top as well. It looked a bit plain, looked a bit boring, and I thought a Necromunda toilet would probably want a vent in it, but I didn't want too big a hole because I didn't want people to look inside. So it's quite industrial, and that's what Necromunda is all about. Also, that was spare. I got loads of spare ones of them, so just basically trying to use up the spare parts I have. Of course, I could have used one of these platforms, but then it would have looked possibly a bit too uniform. That's not what I was going with. Yeah, so plus you could always put a model on there, stand on the top, not a problem. Nice to have two height on a piece of terrain. Okay, so I'll prime it up and I will start painting. And boom, like that, it's all painted. So I've gone some real mucky tones. Try not to use grey too much, so just like an off-white kind of colour. And I'm trying to use a lot of the old school bluey colour that you used to get in the cardboard. So it's just it's a rough colour. I wanted some vibrant container colour to make it look like it actually was cut from a container. So there we go. So Goliath for scale. It's got to have the urinal at the right height, right? And there's the busted urinal with a little bit of water running out of it. I used a little bit of Nurgle Rot for some undesirable liquids running down the channel, and hopefully that doesn't offend anybody. I just thought it was funny. I'm not trying to be crude. There you go. Obviously I'm talking about the Xenos poster, because everything else is normal in this, right? But yeah, I've already made a toilet for the underhive. I'm not planning to make multiple toilets. This is the only 2 toilets I got. It's basically, I had some bits left over, and I thought, what can I make with it? And it was all centered around, I had this left over. And I could not use a urinal. I just thought it was really good. It's by Green Stuff World. I did buy it from Mighty Lancer Games. Sorry guys, that 2 products that I bought from you have been turned into toilets. I'm not saying anything about Mighty Lancer Games. They are a very, very good company. I have bought all of my Necromunda terrain from them, pretty much, which is rather a lot of money. But they were very good prices. Very good prices. It's just I went too mad into it. But there you go. So one of the old bulkheads I've cut up. I say old bulkheads, the bulkheads from the 2017 box. I had some parts left over from the gantries set. That was from the lifts and platforms. And of course I've got the shipping container as well. So a little bit of detail by dragging some rusted watermarks down some rivets. But yeah, fairly happy with it. It was a quick one evening terrain build. I didn't put too much time into it. I just wanted to make it look grubby, used, and I'm trying not to use a ton of rusted paints. Not that I don't have them. I'm trying fast techniques, because if I can rip this out in one night, that's assembling and painting, I can hopefully work my way through a lot of my terrain in one weekend. Because it's already assembled, it just needs painting. Yeah, that is it. Hope you enjoy, guys. Please hit the like button if you haven't done already. And please subscribe for some more great hobby content. I swear the next one won't be a toilet. Stay safe, you wonderful people.